I understand that we are probably synonymous with having a robust conservation project that's happening. But I thought, what best way to navigate around this and share about something that I feel most properties struggle with, waste management. And I'll share in the context of when we joined the long run, before we joined the long run, and when we joined the long run, how things improved since 2020. So that's basically our timeline, where we are now. We are a fellow member of the long run since 2020, and our goal for 2024 is basically to be assessed for the GER, which will be happening next week. And I was impressed when I saw a whole lot of fellow GER members that were presenting here. So hopefully we will get that as well. Tswalu, at its core, it's a regenerative conservation project that is conserving 118,000 hectares in this biodiversity-rich wilderness of the southern Kalahari. So we are a consolidation of 50 plus farms that had different land use over the years. So basically we had to rehabilitate these farms and integrate them into the greater property. So we are also dedicated to research-led conservation, preservation of the culture of this area, and also the development of the socio-economic of this region. So why I chose waste management in our journey, it's that I realized that it's one of those topics that are mundane and seldom spoken about because they are tedious, and it's easy to pass the responsibility from a property to landfill so that you just avoid that accountability. It's not the nicest job to do, but if you do it right, then and get it right, then it yields impressive results. So this video I took at a certain landfill site around this region, basically cows grazing at the landfill site. And I asked myself a question, the environmental impact of our waste and what it does. If we see cows grazing at the landfill site, what does that mean? So it told me that basically waste management has to be it has to be done at the property level, but also outside the property level is what one has to be conscious about and have in mind whenever waste is managed at the property. So this is where we started. We started before the long run, how we were managing waste across the property. So we did believe that waste had to be managed. So we have a team that radically sorts and collects waste across our staff complexes. So each house was given 2 refuse bags. There was no recycling. Basically, people were mixing whatever they were mixing. We're using plastic bags, and the guys sorting basically had to open those plastic bags and then dig inside to be able to try and separate whatever contents were there. And then staff was not given education, the proper education that was needed. They just knew that waste is collected. And then we didn't have any monitoring systems. We didn't measure. We just had waste that had to be taken care of. These photos are just a depiction of how the situation used to look like. And on the bottom right there, it's an incinerator that we were using, a custom-made incinerator that we were using, basically to get rid of all this stuff. So as you can see, it was messy. And then when we joined the long run, then we started looking at how can we best improve this condition. what is it that we can do? So we resorted to using materials that we had, like old barrels. Most of these were already existing materials that were on property and not used, except for the black bins. So we tried to reuse all those things, and we tried to introduce our staff members to recycling and so on. But it didn't go well, in a sense that people still mixed, but we understood that it was a journey, so we're still improving. And then we invested, we bought a new incinerator, and then we started using that, which we believe was more safe and efficient compared to the older one. And then this is where we are today. So we discontinued the incinerator as per government instructions. But then what we figured was that from 5 years ago, we stopped using plastic bottles. So what we figured was that we're using just shy of 1,300 bottles that we bottle on site each and every month. And then we've banned tin foil to just reduce all our waste that we cannot be able to process on site. We've burned tin foil. We were using about 12 kilograms per month. Nobody takes it in an area like this that's isolated. There's limited resources, so people do not take waste except for some of the normal thing. And then we've started a robust recycling culture across the reserve, where employee education and signage across the reserve was introduced. And then this year, we realized that we still have paper that we want to reduce taking offsite to a landfill site. So we started shredding it and creating fire lighters. So far, the quantity has been 160 kilograms that we've turned into fire lighters. That translates to over 33,000 papers. And then we conduct block audits across our staff complexes, where we look at block audits and across our staff complexes and our camps, where we look at waste management as one of the key aspects that we audit. We look at recycling, we look at littering, we look at just proper separation and neatness. And then we've changed our refuse bags from the dark ones to clear ones, so that the guys dealing with the waste can be able to see the contents that's inside and can be able to optimize the recycling. And then we looked at local recyclers, which are not easy to find in the Kalahari, but we've got quite a number of them that we're working with now, who are taking at least about 60% of our general waste or so. And this is some of the initiatives that we started when we turned around our waste management. So since we are an integration of different farms, so whenever a farm is bought and then material is not going to be used, is stored. So we reuse all those material to create these beautiful recycling boxes. And then we process cans, tins on site. And then at our camps, there's also different clearly labeled recycling bins. Then our food waste also was a challenge, and we resorted to getting pigs and then getting chickens. That eventually started dealing with a majority of about 90% of our food waste. And then this is just a depiction of the paper that we've turned into fire lighters. We ran a couple of tests over the past few months, and now our camps are happily using them instead of buying Blitz, and that comes in different packages. And also we're collecting all coffee jars that are used across the reserve, and we're reusing them for packaging. So moving to data. So we started collecting data because we realized that data is key, and we need to be able to understand what's happening on site. So this is just it's audits. These are audits that we conduct across our staff accommodations every month, so that we've got a sustainability block of the year. So blocks that recycle well, have less littering, use less resources. So that's just one of the aspects that we look at. And then the camps they weigh all their waste as well, and then they send the sheets. We check that. We look at where we can possibly reduce. And also to the right there, it's just a camp audit template that we do. Integration of staff and engagement of staff on waste management has been key, and we do it as often as we can. Over the past, we've created events and activities that where we use waste and we sort it, and staff can be able to see what's happening. We weigh it, we tell them, okay, this is what it means. And then that's the practical part, and then more of the theoretical to the right-hand side, where we've got a recreational center where we would call staff, and then we'd sit with them down and then just speak through these things. So our lessons throughout our journey from where we were to now was that this has been it's a universal struggle across, even though other people don't talk about it because it's tedious. It doesn't make you look good. Education of employees is critical. The employees need to know why it's important. How can they be able to contribute positively? In South Africa, most of our municipalities are in dire condition, especially the landfill sites. So what I've learned was that the more we manage our waste on site and are able to regulate it to a point where we basically don't take anything to landfill site, the better we will be in a position where we don't contribute towards exacerbating the problem. A culture of proper waste management has to be built, in a sense that we do audits now. We've got competitions. We run competitions across all the year where others will include waste and so on. So it's an active action that we're doing, and then ask for help if you're not sure about anything. And we are where we are today at this position because we've seen and we've asked for help from other fellow long-run members or the long-run crew. So we saw that it's very, very helpful to be able to know what other properties are busy with. That's the end of my presentation. Thank you so much.